Hello, beautiful souls. So happy to be here and sharing this information with you. So today we are unlocking our power from within. And I have a little one that is home not feeling well today. So she's in the other room and may come and join us. So just, it's just part of day in the life of myself. Okay. So this is a big thing to talk about because first, we all have to recognize that we have infinite power and potential within us. And I think every single one of us deep down knows that, but oftentimes we get so locked into what's going on in our lives and the current circumstances or the current situations, and we just become in this rhythm of life and the way things are happening that we don't necessarily know how to connect with that inner power. We've had moments in our lives where we did connect with it, where you moved into a space where you didn't know that, how it was going to happen, but you did it. You felt powerful and empowered and, created something that you wanted. And then there's other times in life where in other situations, maybe you're feeling very stuck and, there's lots of negative chatter that, circles around in your thoughts in a certain area. And we all have different areas in our lives where we're, doing really well, and other areas where we know we could do better. So first, I want you to know the truth that you have infinite potential. You have source energy pouring through you, and you are able to create anything that you want to create. So nothing is different between you and the leader in your company or the neighbor next door or the other person on Instagram that, has all these amazing experiences. There's literally nothing different between you and them than what I'm going to call your programming, right? Your programming is how you filter the world, how you process things, the way that you think, the way that you respond and react to things, and how you make decisions, how you take action. So, you could be trained, go to school with the same person, side by side in school for years, and you get the same training, you go and actually get the same job, you're trained in the same job the same way, and get completely different results. Why is that? Well, because we are all programmed from the time of birth, actually before that. And it's our environment, it's the words that were spoken, how people around us perceive their world, and how they dealt with money, how they dealt with challenges, how they dealt with their health, and all those different things. All of that is what separates us and makes us individuals, right? In our own experiences and how we process and filter things. So we all come into this space, into this world, being souls having a physical experience, and we come in knowing, excited to have this experience and this life journey, and anything is possible, right? And you tell that baby when they're born, and that they're poured love into them all the time, right? And they are celebrated when they win, and they're celebrated when they roll over, and they're celebrated with love all the time. So that's how we come in. And then throughout our young years, we are programmed, right? Like by our experiences, by how other people treat us, by our experiences, by what is surrounding us. And that determines how we see ourselves, how we feel, how we take action, and therefore how we show up, how we believe in ourselves, whether we do, whether we don't. So we all have this infinite power within, but we have this layer and layer and layer and layer of, if you want to call it virus code, since I'm talking about being programmed, we're just going to imagine like computers here or phone, right? Like you open up a program and then maybe it has like all this garbage in it. And like that just slows everything down and it causes confusion and it makes the programs, the foundational programs, like not run as smoothly and properly, right? Like it has to go through these virus codes. And that is our fears, our doubts, our disbelief in ourselves, and all those things, right? All those beliefs that are limiting us from really stepping out and taking action in the areas that we want, and really trusting that true essence that is in us, from listening and having faith and belief in ourselves to do the things and follow the direction, right? So before we know it, we are working our job, very possibly not loving what we're doing, and doing things like one day looks like another, looks like another, looks like another, and you feel stuck. You're like in this cycle and you just don't know how to get out of it. That's one very common situation. Another very common situation is you have what we call the unconscious competence, which, you know, everything seems to work out for them. And they just like are following that divine intuition and that guidance, but they aren't aware of it. They aren't aware of all those things that they're doing that are working out really well. And eventually they're going to get to a spot where they get stuck. And then they don't know how to recreate all the success that they, you know, had in previous, in their previous experience, because they were unconscious about it. They didn't understand what it was that they were doing. They just knew that it was working. And I've had different parts of my life where I was an unconscious competent, and then I like reached a certain level and a certain space where then I was like, okay, I'm stuck. Like, I don't know how to move beyond this. And that's when I searched out and realized that I had to shift something. I had to learn more about me, because I was doing everything that everybody else told me that was working for everybody else, and it wasn't working for me. So the common denominator in that was me. So I had to change and learn more about myself and understand more about how I work and why I did things the way I did and how I saw myself and where I held myself back and all of that. So once we learn how to like drop off or clear out those virus codes, which is the lack, the limitation, the disbelief, the fears of failure, the fear of being seen, the fear of some people have a fear of success. You know, like once we learn how to drop all of that virus code, all that garbage, and like really trust in that inner connection, that divine connection that we all have to source, to divine, to God, to infinite intelligence, to universal intelligence. They're all the same thing, but whatever you connect with. So when we learn to like clear the virus code and really tap in and connect with that true essence that is always guiding us where we're meant to go. It's always guiding us here, you know, like imagine there's a whole bunch of lines on this screen and they all they all represent like different levels of, you know, frequency, I like to say, because everything is vibration, everything is energy. But like where you are, you are holding a certain space. You are residing at a certain belief level. You are residing at a certain energy level. This is where you believe you can be. But that dream or that goal or that, you know, whether it's doing another $50,000 better, you know, and reaching that next level or a higher level in your community and your life and in your business, or maybe it's you're striving to get to a certain health level, you know, and there's this higher version of yourself that this is where you want to be. This is your goal. This is that weight. This is that money goal. This is, you know, relationship goal, whatever that is that you're striving for, that you're feeling stuck in. That's here. And we are here. And so learning how, like, we receive everything that we receive because we are in harmony with it right now. We are in alignment with it right now. And what does that mean? You're like, great, Kelly, what does that mean? So when we are in harmony or when we are in alignment with something, it's because we are thinking and affirming over and over and over all the things that we are experiencing. So I like to say that today's thinking creates tomorrow's reality, right? Your thinking today creates your tomorrow. And so we all have like different areas where we maybe feel a little stuck or have challenges in, and those commonly have very challenging thought processes around them, probably more on the negative side. Like you're more concerned about what's not happening, where things, you know, aren't working, right? It's really easy to pick those out. That's kind of the way we're conditioned as humans. And or to see things how they are right now. We are easily impacted by our world around us. We see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. That's how we are conditioned to interact with our world, right? Like I feel the temperature in the room and it's maybe a little cool. So I went and put on my coat. I can smell the rice and that I made for my daughter, right? So I know that it's around lunchtime. I can see that it's light outside and it's beautiful outside and there's a slight breeze outside. So I know if I go outside, I'm going to probably need a coat. And I can taste, you know, the drink that I just drank, or, you know, we are conditioned to take information from our world around us in the moment. Oh, and I can hear my daughter in the other room. I can hear the helicopter outside. I can hear the sounds of the neighborhood, right? So our mind is bringing in all of this information all at the same time and processing it, right? And then that gives us, like, we unconsciously go and interact with the world based on what we hear, smell, taste, touch, and feel. And so we unconsciously are going and interacting in all these spaces. We are inhabit 95% of our day. 95% of your day, you are literally on autopilot, interacting, responding, reacting to different situations, different comments that people make, different things without even thinking about it. And that's so amazing, guys. That's really cool. But when we are unconsciously flowing throughout our day, like my husband, he calls me at the same time every day because he's off work and on his way home, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And inevitably, I am doing the same things. I, am finishing up the dishes, cleaning up the house, getting ready to go get the kids off the bus, and he's like, "Yep, I know what you're doing. It's what you are always doing," because that's in my habitual way of being. Like that's my habit right now. And so I want to just bring that to your attention, that we have our ways of being and our habits in all the different areas of our life. How you wake up in the morning, what your thought process is. Are you excited about the day? You get up and you do your morning routine, and then you go to work and you do your work routine and you connect with people in the same way. And we're on autopilot, but nothing changes. Nothing is ever going to change when you're on autopilot, right? So there's this 4 to 6% of the time that you are consciously creating. Okay? And so when we can become more aware of our time in that space and spend more time in our conscious thinking instead of on autopilot, we are more aware of things that we're doing that maybe aren't getting us where we want to be, aren't getting us into that space that we want to be. And we have habitual way of acting, right? We have a habitual way of thinking, and we have a habitual way of feeling. So I want you to just think about for a moment when you go and are, getting on the phone with, let's just say someone that you talk to quite often, and you know how they're going to respond to things. They know how to push your buttons. They know how you're going to respond to get a reaction out of you. And so if you just keep going in that space and aren't aware of what it is that you're doing, then nothing changes. But once we become more aware of ourselves and how we're thinking and how we're showing up and how we're feeling, then we start tapping into that power. So when we are able to tap into that power, then we can create something different. We allow ourselves to come out of that habitual space where a lot of the time we're in resistance to what it is that we really want, because for some reason we've decided that we couldn't have it, or we don't deserve it, or we're not worthy of it, or whatever that is. And so you want something, but then there's okay, so this is a better way of explaining it. So the inner self is always guiding you to this space, to where it is that you want to go, where you're like, it's ease and flow. This is that goal, that desire that you're wanting. And then like that is just easy, right? You know what it is that you want. And then the resistance comes when the fear, the doubt, the worry, the lack, the limitation, like comes in, the ego, which ego is like edging God out, like that human experience is like, no, you're not allowed to have that. Remember, way back when X so-and-so said this, and you're never going to be good enough. You're never going to blah, blah, blah. Right. And that created an impact in you, and you like created a belief around it, whether you meant to or not. And that's going to rise up and say, no, remember, you're not allowed to have those things. You're not worthy of having nice things, blah, 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 right? Like all that garbage. And that's where we find that resistance. So, and we're so used to like this inner voice, like coming in and putting down what it is that we really want, and then just, okay, I guess it's not really meant to be. I guess I'm not really supposed to have XYZ or go here or there, right? And maybe success isn't meant for me. Maybe I'm just always going to be this size, this weight. Maybe this is the way I'm meant to be. I'm never going to feel good. I'm always going to be sad, or, and then we settle. And then we settle. And that's such a sad thing, because so many people around us are settling. There's no reason why 3 or 5% of the world's population is thriving and 95% are like struggling and like not really where they want to be. They're settling. And that's just because that's the way we've been conditioned, and we don't know enough about ourselves and how to connect with that true essence and really trust and take action from that space. So it's all about allowing yourself to dream and connect with what it is that you really want. And most people, I talk with a lot of people, my friends, and most people, when I ask them what they really want, they either don't know, right? They have a vague idea of what that looks like. But there's where there's no clarity, where we don't have clarity, then there's no direction. It's like driving around in the fog without your lights on. Like you just like literally are just, going until you run into something. So, or just stopped and not going anywhere. So we want to clear the fog. We want to clear the confusion, because if we don't know where it is that we want to go, what's the point of doing anything different? Like you're just going to keep doing what you're doing. So I like to think of the roundabouts, when you're driving and there's the circular thing that the road goes around, and then there's all these spokes that you can go off in different directions. And so it's almost as if you don't have like a specific thing that you are driving for, that you are going for, a specific destination, then you're on that roundabout. You're driving, you're doing the things, right? But you're not going in a specific direction, right? And yeah, it could be nice, like, having more money or being, a different weight or size, having a different health experience, having a good relationship. But you know what? Like what I'm doing right now, like it's pretty comfortable. Like I know how to drive around in this roundabout. I know how to do this circle loop. But there's amazing destinations, all different directions, you just need to know where it is that you want to go. And then the fog clears, and lots of people also get caught up in having to know all the steps along the way. Well, first you need to know where it is that you're going. And then as you're driving, you come up to all the different spots along the way, right? But you have to know first where it is that you're going. So that will help create the clarity. And we don't get like caught up in the how. Like, how are we going to get there? Right? First, our job is like finding out the what. What is it that we want? What is it that we want to do? What is it that our inner soul, our inner being is wanting to experience in this world, right? Like, what are your desires? What are things that you would love to have or experience? And I talk to a lot of people that are like, you know what? I'm just letting God lead. I'm just letting God lead. Well, God, yes, loves that. But also, we have to give direction. He gave us free will. He's not here to tell us, okay, you're going this way. Like, he is in a way, like, by us asking ourselves what it is that we really want and what we would love and what we would enjoy and what we would like to experience. We say, oh, I would love this. And in God, source, universal intelligence, it's like, yes. Okay, so let's come in and let's bring all, let's just do that. Let's just move in this direction. But you have to give the direction first, right? You have to give the direction first. He's here to have an experience through you, through your experience. He's not here to dictate, oh, you're doing this, 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 right? Our purpose here is to have a human experience and to grow and to experience and to expand our connection with this life and with source, with God, with, through all of our experiences, through all of our desires. So it's in finding that clarity that we can clear the fog and start moving in that direction. Because lots of us get stuck in the details, like the itty, what's first, what's next. And we have to have like a detailed plan of all the steps that are going to get there, instead of like, okay, I'm going to start, this is where I'm going and I'm starting at step 1. This is the idea. And then doing step 1. And then when step 1 is accomplished, then you'll get the answers for what step 2 is. And maybe there's an obstacle that needs to be gone around, and then that will lead you to step 3. And so it's really about allowing yourself to connect with yourself, with what it is that you really want, what your desires are. And then we are able to connect with source, with God, with divine intelligence, and all the people, places, opportunities, all the support is brought into, and brought, those ideas are brought to us, the downloads are brought to us, and then it's our job to take action on them, right? But most of the time we get those downloads and we don't take action. Why is that? It's because we are in the habit, we are going around the circle over here, doing all the things that we are told to do or we are normally doing, because that's what we are in the habit of doing. But if we aren't growing and learning about ourselves, all about our inner workings, about our thoughts, about where our beliefs are, all the time I'm studying me, I'm learning more about my connection with source. I'm learning more about like where my beliefs and disbeliefs are, and highlighting and learning like, oh, okay, I see what's holding me back right here. So I'm going to focus on like shifting this, right? And sorry, I have calls coming in. And only in doing that do we actually get out of the habit of doing all the things that we're doing, and we're consciously creating as we're learning about ourselves, as we're moving forward. Because how many times have you, seen or talked to somebody that's like, yeah, I want to do this, but I don't know, it's never going to happen, or I'm going to have to wait until XYZ happens, or, and then a year later, I talk with a lot of people, a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, they're still in the same spot. They're still doing the same things. And why is that? It's because they're just in their habits and they don't know how to get out of it. And that's what we call a paradigm, right? It's keeps us safe, it's comfortable. We know how to do that, even though it may not be where we want to be, but it's safe and it's comfortable. Right? But branching out and doing something new, something different, like you'll get the idea and you're like, ooh, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then maybe you start and then pretty soon you're like, yep, didn't work. I have no idea, and your paradigm, your habits draw you back. Those old beliefs, they draw you back. And then before you know it, you're back in that cycle again. And gosh darn it, you said you didn't want to be there. And then so you branch out again. Or maybe you get to a certain spot and then you get on another roundabout. Maybe you're on this path to this place, and you're seeing success, you're seeing the changes, but then you come to another roundabout, and that's your comfort zone. That's, where you need to find more clarity. You need to get reconnected with what it is that you want. You need to find out what it is that's blocking you from stepping in, right? Because there's that virus code, there's that belief, that disbelief that is holding you back from pushing through and going where you want to be. So I hope this is making sense. I would love for you guys to drop comment in the comments or a thumbs up if this is making sense, if this rings true to you. Does this resonate with you? Because this is really powerful. When we recognize who we are divine energy, we are source energy, God's energy, as a soul, and like we are directly connected. And we are made in the Creator's image. And we are meant to create and live and experience the lives that we want. And it's through discovering what our virus codes are that we are able to grow through that and like reconnect with what it is that we really want, and be able to move beyond the barriers that we have created. Because let's just say that, we all know someone that has, gone on a diet. Maybe we have. And you get on a diet, you get really, you made the decision, you're going on this diet, you're committing to this goal, and then you have the regimen, you have the direction of what it is that you're doing, right? So you release some weight and the pounds start coming off and the clothes start fitting better and like you're feeling great about yourself, right? And then you hit a space where that, like you are tempted to go back and do things an old way. Or maybe you reach that goal and then before you know it, boop, you're right back to where you were. Well, what just happened? You reached the goal and then you went backwards. Oh, I know that all of us have had that happen or experienced that. Well, we saw something different, but like that inside way that we saw ourselves didn't match what the outside was reflecting back to us. And so unconsciously, we revert back to what our inside like version or view of ourselves really is. So, you can have success in something and then go backwards. But once you learn about yourself and who you are and why that is and how to like shift the images you see and really connect with your power and changing what it is that you see yourself doing, getting past those virus codes and everything, then the change becomes permanent. The change becomes permanent. But so often, like either people succeed and go forward and then slide back, or they succeed and go forward and then they get stuck, right? And we're meant as humans to expand our awareness, to progress, to always evolve, always, grow into a greater experience of ourselves, to want and do more. There's nothing wrong with that. Actually, if you, and that's all growth. The wanting and doing more is all, it's good, because those goals are not for you to just get, they're for you to grow into. You have to grow into the person that is able to receive those. And so that's what we're meant to be here to do, is to grow, to keep learning, to discover more about ourselves, to tap into that inner power and learn to like really connect and listen to those downloads and take action and keep moving forward. And when we get stuck, it's because we can't see ourselves past it, and we don't really have that goal that we're going after. So, and we get disconnected. That that paradigm, those habitual ways of being just come in and start running on autopilot again, right? And that's when we stay stuck and we don't keep going until the next space. And the great thing is, like, once we learn how, like, learn about yourselves in enough of a space and in a consistent way, then you're gonna keep leveling up, and you're gonna get to the space and you're gonna be like, aha, I've been here. Okay, I'm gonna go do this and this and this, and then you're gonna grow, and then you're gonna get there again, and then you're gonna grow, and then you're gonna but it becomes easier and easier as you continue to go. And why is that? It's because you've already done it. You already know the processes. You've experienced it, and you're learning and releasing more of those virus codes as you go. And that's something that I do with my clients as I guide them through this really powerful material with Proctor Gallagher Institute. Is we learn about ourselves. We learn the inner workings of our thinking, of our feelings, of our mind, and our connection with source, and what's blocking us. And we grow into a greater awareness of ourselves, and then we take leaps, and then we take leaps, and then we take leaps. And it's essential, because if you're not feeling fulfilled and you're not feeling like you're where you want to be in life, or you're wanting more, that's your inner self saying, please, we're on a wheel, and this is where we're supposed to go, and I don't know how to get there. There's always a guide, and I serve as a guide to help people through this self-discovery and connecting with themselves and understanding where all these processes come from, and connecting deeper with source, with God, with universal intelligence, like, and allowing yourselves to, like, get into alignment with it, what it is that you really want, and to continue to move forward instead of getting stuck in this wheel. So it's all about connecting with that inner power, because we get those downloads all the time, but we don't often listen to them, or we're so in the habit of not noticing, or we're like, oh, that's a great idea, and then before you know, it's like already gone and you didn't take action. And or you say that you're going to do something, and then you're in the habit of bailing on yourself, and so you've bailed on yourself so many times that you don't have the confidence to actually show up and do the things that you think you get the downloads and would love to do in order to get where you want to go. So that's how I help people. And if you would love to have more support in connecting with that inner guidance and taking actions, and you're feeling like you're stuck in any area of your life, then reach out. Let's have a conversation. And I will spend time with you, and we'll figure out exactly what it is, where it is that you want to go. Lots of people don't even know. And it'll become clear what it is that's holding you back. And I can give you guidance on how to move forward and how to get where you want to go. That's what I'm here for. And this material that Bob Proctor has created, and that I guide people through, like, it's time tested, 65 years of, thousands of people going through this material. And I've been studying and being trained in this material and guiding people through this material for years now. And it is life-changing. And if this is something that you would love to get out of your own way and start moving forward towards those dreams and those goals again, if you're feeling stuck in any different space, reach out. Let's have a conversation. There's no obligation. It's absolutely free. I would just love to help you gain some direction and clarity, and start moving towards those dreams and goals again. Because you are able to do anything that you want to do. You have that power within yourself. You just need to be able to let it out. that inner version of yourself is saying, please, please, it's dying to get out and wants you to listen, but you just don't know how to uncover the viruses and how to like take the garbage off to let it blossom out. All right, my friends, if you would like to have a conversation with me, please send me a DM, and I will also drop a link to my Calendly, and I would love to hop on a conversation. Let's get you moving in the direction that you want to be. All right, my friends, come back, connect with me again next week, same time, same place, and we will continue this conversation. And I would love to interact with you and answer questions and work with people through this experience, because we all want to be somewhere beyond where we are, and we all have different places where we're feeling stuck and don't know how to move beyond. And that's what I'm here for. That's what the material that I guide people through like helps us to move through. And it's time. You've come into this space and the awareness of this. You're seeing this video for a reason, and let's explore what that is. All right, my friends, expect abundance, and we'll talk to you soon. I look forward to meeting many of you in person or on Zoom, and let's get you moving towards your goals and your dreams. All right, expect abundance.